everybody, it's Tuesday.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And we are so excited to be here this evening. We are less than 1 month out from the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. And the weather, it seems like it's finally trending in that direction too.
Yeah, it's looking great. I've been really excited. I've been following some favorite weather people on YouTube, and they've been forecasting some way cold temps coming into the expo, so I'm really hoping.
It's too far out for that, but either way, we're looking at kind of right now, and our temps keep getting colder, daytime and nighttime, and I think our water temps are still coming down. Where were we at this past weekend? Were we in the high 30s?
Yeah, we were 38, 37, 38, so the water's right there. We're just looking at trying to get a few days that are a little bit cooler than what we've had. You know, we haven't had too terrible high temps around us. It's been in the upper 30s. But if we could get some, 32 degree days or 30 degree days for highs, we'd really lock up pretty quick, I think.
The other thing that we've really been battling is the wind, a huge amount of that. And so I know big bodies of water don't freeze up first anyways, but I think even the little bodies of water, everything has gotten pushed around a lot. I know we were out this past weekend still in the boat and we were getting pushed around. But the good news is that the fish were still biting. Look at your face. Why are you making that face?
Wah, wah. Bad news.
We
put the boat away.
Oh, no, but I mean, as far as the fishing report goes, if there is people that, if anyone still has their boat out, we did find a pretty good bite. And the thing is that fish are really settling into those true winter patterns. So exactly where you're expecting to find them in cribs and off the deep and all those things. That's exactly what we found. So that's a great thing coming into actually winter, because then once it does freeze over, we'll know right where to find them.
Yeah, and so I think we got the boat put away. In a general situation, we would be able to put the boat in the garage, pull it out. With that E-Tech, it makes it really easy to just start it up, go, winterize it again. Unfortunately, my circumstance is that I have to jigsaw puzzle my boat into the back of my stuff, rearrange everything for winter, and it's not as easy as just pulling it out. So it is a way for the year. We're done with our 25 open water season. As far as the boat goes, I think this weekend we might go do some scouting and check out some stuff just north of us and see if they have any ice or starting of ice. And we may do some shore fishing. I don't know.
I have actually heard some good reports from, I guess, a few different the river systems, I guess is what I'm saying. But we'll see what happens, I guess. So wherever you are, let us know how fishing is, or maybe if your boat is already winterized. And I guess the other thing is, let us know if you're looking forward to the expo, because we sure are as well. And I guess without further ado, let's bring in our guests. So COOT and COOT Jr., thanks so much for being here this evening.
Hey guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we always love to bump into you guys. For people who might be just meeting you this evening, can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Well, my name is Paul Williams. A lot of people don't know that. Everybody knows me by COOT, because I used to shoot coots or mud hens back in the day. This is my mini-me, Aaron Williams. He is my social media director. What you see on the internet is all because of him. I just do the content stuff, and he puts it together for us.
Yeah, so I've been doing his stuff relentlessly for 6 years straight. Everywhere that there's a social media app, we have an account. So I'm behind the scenes, and I usually like staying behind the scenes, but tonight I'm in front of the screen.
And actually, I love the way that you say relentlessly, because sometimes people hear that term and they wince like a bad thing. But I think what the thing is social media is that, that constant output of media. And that's one of the things that's so fun about following the COOT, your page, because there is always so many different things that are getting put out. So always a fun experience.
Yeah, we try to give a lot of funny stuff, informational stuff. He's been dabbling in AI. Oh my God. I'm riding deer, I'm wrestling deer, I'm fighting deer. Okay, I'm in the deer hunt now.
The more you can experiment, the more fun it begins. And obviously providing value and entertainment information, I think that's the name of the game. And people buy from who they like and who they trust. And, he has more than just lures, but everybody thinks it's a lure company. And he actually has products that people they swear by, the Trollmaster rods.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're affiliated with HT, so we're an extension of the HT family.
That's awesome.
Well, you're hitting on a few different things there, but I was actually hoping to ask right along that line. I mean, COOT, where did it all begin? You know, we're here talking about AI and posts and media and all these things, but that's not where it all started.
Well, COOT's Lure started in 2004. I had a friend stay with me. He was a professional walleye touring guy, and he showed me how to pull worm harnesses on Lake Winnebago. Well, after he left, I started experimenting with harnesses, flutter spoons, and I came up with a kit it was very interchangeable. So knowing HC Paul Grawl at the time, he helped me along with the process of building this kit. So I had a COOT 1 and a COOT 2. Each kit was different colors and all that kind of stuff, and it had 19 pieces. Well, with that one kit, you could build over 1,000 lures in your boat. It was all interchangeable. So it got to be very unique and different. Went to the Green Bay Sports Show. We sold out. I was hoarse by the end of the last day, talking, showing people how to do it. It was just crazy. So, and ever since then, I've been kind of involved in tweaking things. Because my dad always taught me, he says, never criticize another man's work unless you can do it better. So that's why I came up with my own products. I want quality in my products and a very affordable rate to buy, because I don't want fishing to be that expensive that you can't go out there and do it. So that's been my adage, and he's been having a fun time doing it, because pretty much through his high school and college is very demanding on what he was doing. High school, he played 4 sports, so I was a bleacher guy in my butt every weekend and all that. So now we're enjoying time fishing together, having a great time doing all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind for us.
I'm playing catch up right now with my father now. With all the outdoors activity. What can we every winter it turns into where do we want to fish? Do we want to go to Milwaukee? Do we want to go up north? Do we want to go to the Mississippi? It's always like, well, one, the weather, but also what kind of ice conditions. So it's like we always look forward to this time of year, because it's like, where do we want to go?
Yeah. Us too.
Yeah, like Aaron said, our ice fishing is our Super Bowl for the media, for social media. We get so many people following us because of the different techniques that we do on Lake Winnebago for sturgeon spearing, even spearing or not fishing through my hole in my UTV. Everybody thought that was pretty unique, but that's been going on for a long time here at tubers with trucks and that kind of stuff, and front wheel drive cars on Lake Winnebago. But I'm looking forward to the ice show in Oshkosh. I got to put on 2 seminars, Saturday and Sunday. So he'll be there filming and getting all the content for us. And you guys will be walking around doing your content filming and all that. So we're really looking forward to that.
Well, and so while we are on that topic, people who are coming to the expo, because the seminars are not like live streamed or anything, like you get to be there to experience it, it's great, because then at the end, maybe questions or whatever. But for people who are coming to the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo, what are your seminars about? Can you kind of pitch them for us?
My seminars?
Well, seminars. What you're speaking about, what you're going there for.
Yeah. Good question. No. It's going to be pretty much talking about the experiences that have been on Lake Winnebago for me. Hopefully I can give some tips and tricks. I don't want to give too many away right here. I'd like to save a few for the show. But, the biggest thing is, the end of the day, is getting on the ice and getting off the ice. Safety number one, okay? There's a lot of times that people are not thinking when they go out there, and being a firefighter for 30 years, I've seen a lot of dumb things that people have done. I don't want that to happen to people that go out there. It's supposed to be a fun time to me right now. Catching a fish is just a bonus. Just getting out there is fun, and going through the process of what we're doing, setting it up and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to hit. And being that you guys are representatives for HT, one of my favorite things that HT has is the throw bags. I carry my throw bag all year round. I keep it in the boat with me. I keep it in my sled, on my person anytime I'm on the water. And I think it's not a super expensive thing, but I think it's something that's probably one of the most invaluable pieces of equipment that I have with me. Obviously, I like to wear my float bibs, but if there's somebody I can help, not just Emily helping me or vice versa, if there's somebody else we can help out there, that bag's going to help us do it.
Yeah, for $25, I've spent $25 in worse places. That thing does come in handy. I actually towed a boat in a couple years ago with it. The guy looked at me when I threw it. He says, "What is that?" So I explained it and showed him all that. Lucky I had an extra one. He bought it then. But it's one of those things that a lot of people do not like buying safety equipment. Ice picks around the necks, the throw bags, throw floats, that kind of things too. But then you have the people that want to try wearing a life jacket underneath their clothes. No, that does not work. Do not do that. If you're going to wear a PFD, make sure it's on the outside of your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a really great point.
I don't know if you guys.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Emily, I don't know if you guys knew that his background was a firefighter. So he actually did ice water rescue training. So that's where a lot of that stems from.
So then, okay, can you explain to everybody why it's important to wear the PFD outside of your clothes versus like under a jacket?
Well, okay, if you're wearing a standard PFD, that might be okay, but I wouldn't want to trust it. But if you have the blow-up type one that has water activated, say you spilled something on it, it's going to go into your face and all that. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when it does blow up, it might not be a good situation, because if you're in deep water and you go down and that thing blows up, you're coming up. I hope to hell that you hit that hole, because if you don't, you're hitting the bottom of the ice. Mm-hmm. You're going to knock yourself out. Sometimes wearing that will not help. And the biggest thing too is with ice picks. People think, oh, I can just dig my way out and all that kind of stuff. Well, when you got all that clothes on that's absorbing water, and now where's your upper body strength? Are you going to be able to pull yourself out? Are you going to be able to kick with those big boots on? You got cleats on, all that kind of stuff. And if you do get out of the water, I hope you roll around on the snow, because that snow is going to absorb that water, take it off you so it doesn't freeze as quick. And hopefully you're with a buddy, or he's got a rope or something. Carry a whistle, put your cell phone in a Ziploc bag, that kind of stuff. It's always early ice and late ice, okay? But as Donnie Herman says from Sunk here down in Oshkosh, the ice is never 100% safe. I always say it's never safe. Ice is ice in a glass.
That's true. It's sometimes, for me, that's not even safe.
Yeah, a lot of, because I have a drone, I don't traditionally like to post that people go in, but I do it for the safety of others, in that there's certain regions, especially Lake Winnebago, there's a lot of cracks that form. So I think that's another reason why we post so heavily on ice reports with the local fishing clubs. That's what I usually recommend everybody is follow all those pages, because those guys gives daily reports on ice thickness, visibility of how far to go out. So depending on which lakes you're fishing in.
Now, last year, thank goodness Aaron had his drone. We put it up to see where we could go or not go, and lucky we did, because we would have drove into that water. There was no wind, and it looked like ice going out there, and it was only like 100 and some feet.
Yeah, you could see on the when I flew out, it looked like little ripples, and I was like, I thought we were just seeing that, and we walked out towards that area, and it was all open water, and all the guys around us, there was probably 5 to 10 fishermen. One had his son with him, and we're like, don't go north. And that was right before sturgeon spearing, so that was in February. You would think it'd be perfect, but there were certain parts of Winnebago that just kept getting bigger.
Yep. And the thing with Winnebago being such a shallow lake, 21 feet at the max, well, maybe 20 feet in wintertime, down in the south end where we live, down by Wentz, they have a couple islands, and it's shallow down there. Well, last year we didn't have much of a snowpack. So when that sun does come through, it's heating up the rocks on the bottom. So it actually causes that water to warm up, and the ice melts from below. Now, on a river system, it's also doing the same thing. It's eroding from the bottom. That's where we found out how shallow it was and how much open water was out there. Part of my seminar is going to talk about, okay, you come to Lake Winnebago, where do I find my information? A lot of it's going to be from clubs around the lake. Start up at the north end, you have Paynes Point. Come to Oshkosh, you got Otter Street, Fishing Club. You get down to Wentz, you got West Shore Fishing Club. You get down just past Wentz, it's called Friendship. Then you get down to Fond du Lac, it's some tip of the or bottom of the lake club. Then you get up to Quinney and Pipe. They got clubs. Then you get up to Stockbridge. They have a club. I don't think High Cliff has one, but Bill Lodi from Rip and Lips down in Fond du Lac. He runs a great social media down there. It's called I lost my train of thought.
If you guys are tuning in, comment below your pages so that we can find you easier.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. And
well, I was going to actually say you're naming off all these clubs, and that is a great way to get information. One of the other ways that people feel like they need to get information, though, is by having the biggest and best graph. And then we actually have a question here from Edward. He's asking about, I guess, graphs, especially crappie fishermen. Any certain reason why people seem to prefer Garmin? Do you have thoughts on that?
I do have a Garmin. I just bought it last year. It's actually a live scope system. Is very, very detailed. I was quite surprised. I only have the 32. I didn't get the 34. But for him and I, we were just pretty impressed with it. And well, this year I upgraded my boat, so I do have a live scope from Lawrence in there. Technically, when I look at all three of them, I think they're all great. It's just depending on what kind of money you want to spend. Ice fishing used to be a cheap sport. Now it's going to be a very expensive sport. You know, it's how you want to get out there. How do you want to fish these fish? What do you want to look at? Do you go camera? Do you go live scope? Do you go just sonar? You know, there's so much technical stuff out there. Mm-hmm. I tell him every year, ice fishing is a lot of work.
I think it's neat, though, obviously, like AquaView, like on your sponsored behind you. Like, it would be neat to have underwater footage of certain fish, but then there's obviously debates on, you know, are fish scared by the pinging of the device, you know, whether it's live scope or it's the old school methods of like hummingbirds that we used to have, the sonar
flashers,
the flashers.
Yeah.
I think technology, it all comes down to preference and what works for you. Can you see the device in front of you? How big do you need a monitor? There's a lot of different options.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like I said, money is the biggest one that's going to factor into all that. To say you should use live scope or not, it's like bringing a horse to water. You still got to make the horse drink the water. You can't make them drink it. That's all. Same with fishing. You got to figure it out. So when I started fishing on Winnebago, I go the fast route. I get my UTV, I mark fish first. And then if they're not biting, then I'll start adding natural baits like minnow heads or waxworms onto the baits. I want to catch active fish right away if I can.
I think that's a really good point, because sometimes people will land on marks, you know, land on fish, but if that's not the biting fish, it's not the moving or eating fish, then you're kind of SOL anyways.
Yeah. And most of the time on Winnebago, I'm targeting perch, walleyes, or white bass. There are some crappies out there, but to say to go actually target crappies, I would not be a very good guy at doing that unless I come into a pot of them or something.
Yeah, you never know. You know, and so we're talking about graphs. You had mentioned the different fishing clubs. Not everywhere is blessed with a lake big enough to have fishing clubs, especially plural. And James is making a great point in the comments to talk to your local bait shops, because no matter where you're at, there is going to be a place to buy bait, and they are going to have some kind of insight on that local area. Yeah,
and I was going to bring up too, like knowing the area that you're fishing. You know, obviously you guys are talking about the cracks that form on Bago. And for those of us that have been in the area, or you guys live there year round, that we all know that that's a common occurrence. But if you don't live there, that might not be something that first pops into your head. Around us up here in the Anago area, one thing we have to look for is springs. A lot of our lakes have springs up here. And so, you know, like James is saying, you know, stop by your bait shops, tell people where you're going, see if you can get some tips, because especially bait shops around here, they're more than happy to help you out.
That would be the number one or number two, finding out information, local shops or fishing clubs. You know, we are so blessed here on Lake Winnebago because we have so many clubs out there. all the roads pretty much intersect. Wherever there's a crack, there's a bridge. A lot of people get freaked out if they've never been on ice or go over a bridge and all that kind of stuff. Never run parallel with a crack. You always want to go across the crack, because you might find some spider cracks that you actually might just tip in sideways. You do not want to do that at all.
Well, and so a little bit earlier, I put this up earlier, but Nick was also saying that ice or no ice, this time of year, the water is really cold. And so it just sucks falling in, and it's dangerous. So just be mindful of your surroundings and have that safety gear with you.
What degree does cold water start at?
Oh,
I think cold
72 degrees.
72 degrees.
72 degrees. That's when the hypothermia starts setting in. When you can't feel your fingers and toes, you better get some help, because you're getting all that blood shunting to your core, and that's what's going to happen.
Another thing that people don't think about, if you are driving any sort of a vehicle, whether it's a UTV or a car on the lake, is having your windows down and your seatbelt not buckled on, because some people have gone on the lake buckled in, and that's not good if that vehicle goes down.
Same with automatic locking.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
So to give a story about when I went in Lake of the Woods with 2020 with my UTV, I bought the UTV with soft-sided doors, and they had zipper windows. So when I was up there with Kika Vias, who was fishing with, I had the windows zippered all the way down, but they would stay upright. So you always want to think, it's like being in a fire. You always want a second escape route if you could. So I told Keith I was going to head in. It was getting cold. The snow was coming down hard and all that, so I had enough. And I started watching my track line. I got off, so I stopped to kind of get my visual looking, seeing a couple guys ahead of me, so I would just go drive through them. All of a sudden, my right side fell in. I grabbed that door as quick as I could. I threw it open. And by the time I got out, the roof was on my back, sucking me down already. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, these things are going to be a death trap to somebody if they don't know what the hell they're doing, you know? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I should buy a plexiglass window, put Velcro on it, and put it in my back window, because if it goes down head first, what you're going to do, I could actually push that window out if I had to get an escape out. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if these companies want to do something like that, be safety minded. It's more added cost. Who knows where that goes? But I gave a little talk to a bunch of people about that, and the good points they brought up about UTVs. So,
oh my God.
Well, and that sounds like a niche that somebody needs to fill, and I think you have a good background in making stuff.
Funny story about him making stuff. So he has that hole, that cover for the UTV. I think he actually got that at the St. Paul Ice Show, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And a couple weeks back, a Green Bay Packer DM'd our Instagram and asking, like, who did that for you? And he's like, I made it myself. He didn't know who messaged us. And I said, I think that's a Packer. He said he's from the Green Bay area, but all of his photos are him in the green and gold. And the same day I looked up his name or whatever, he actually got cut from the Packers. I'm like, well, he's got a free winner, so we might be thinking of him to put a hole in his UTV.
There you go. That's funny.
Normally, we got 241,000, almost 242,000 on Facebook. And with all the social media he puts out, it takes me about an hour every day to go through all that stuff, because I will answer every question or comment out there, because people want to know. I will try to give it to them as quick as I can. It's usually that day or the next day.
I think that's the biggest difference. And again, I don't want to speak on others' behalf, but like when you have a lot of ice fishing pages, a lot of people are very secretive and they don't want to share too much. A lot of the advice that like we'll give out on our pages, obviously not public knowledge. So if you guys are watching and you've never heard of our page, COOT's Lures, like you can message him all winter long and know he's going to respond to it, whether it's the ice conditions of what he knows or from people that he's communicated with. So just know, like, you're going to get good information, and we want you to catch fish
and be safe.
Yeah.
We're not going to give away your lakes that are going to get murdered by everybody going there, but we will try and give you good direction.
Well, as far as being safe and catching fish, we actually have two questions here that relate to navigation, I suppose. And the first one is a really great question, actually, about the trees on Winnebago. And then the second one is about navigation more in general and fishing apps. So let's start a little bit narrow and then work our way out. So the Christmas trees on Winnebago, can you tell us about that? That's kind of specific what they do out there.
Yeah, usually every tree will be marked every mile. And it starts out with 2 trees, then it goes to 3 trees, and so forth. It keeps going all the way across. And from Quinny to Oshkosh, it's 11 miles across. So all those trees are marking per mile. So if you hit 5 trees, you're 5 miles out. Okay. And they try to run one east and west, and then they try to run some north and south out of Wentz, which will be West Shore Fishing Club. They try to go straight out through the islands, or else they veer to the left and go to the northeast with the road. To be cautious down by the Wentz area with the islands. There's some springs down there, so if we have really good ice, it's good. But you have to be careful down there. They'll let you know. If you see tree stumps laying there, they cut them off for a reason. Don't go on that road.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see a tree laying down, there's a problem there.
That is actually two really great tips, because I think a lot of times people don't necessarily know how to read the trees and the lines, but especially about those cutoffs and the tip downs. You just, sometimes it's easy to assume like, oh, weather pushed this one over, but they do a good job of freezing those trees like straight up in those holes. And so when it is not an otherwise straight up tree, or once in a while, like on Winnebago, don't they direct them a little bit towards the shore? It's not like totally straight up and down. At least I thought that's what I heard one time. Right. And so, but those trees that are fully knocked down or cut off, that is a no-go zone.
Yeah. Another good point I want to bring up. A couple years ago, we fished Battle on Bago for the big tournament, and we had a snow squall come in. And all the people left in that snow squall. Please do not do that. What happened is I think almost 20 cars went head first into the crack because they couldn't see where the bridge was and all that kind of stuff. So the rule of thumb is always have a full tank of gas in your car, have a blanket in your car, have some type of communication device, or tell someone where you're going to be, especially in that tournament, okay? Because they can come and get you, but it's going to be a long time before they come out there because there's a lot of people out there fishing. So personally, we came in early because I knew it was coming. I was watching the weather. I said, we better get in right now because I don't want to be out here in this kind of stuff. But that's my biggest thing with people. If you have a snow squall out there, just sit there for a couple hours. It's going to blow by. You'll be done. Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness. So for those times when you don't have to hang tight and you do want to do a little bit of exploring, maybe the conditions are good, but maybe you're not on Winnebago, there are quite a few places to reference for finding fishing spots. So the question here from Edward is specifically about if there's any paid fishing apps that you think are worth it. And I'm going to first of all throw it out there. One of my best fishing apps is Google Earth or Google Maps. Anything with that live kind of picture, I do always look at that. But what else do you use?
I'm very reserved on spending money in general. I would say follow every single fishing group that's possible in the area that you're looking to go. Pose questions on those pages. We've met a lot of great people just through the internet. I think that's where you're going to get the best information as far as like good reports, because that's going to change on a regular basis. That's going to change on the ice thickness. That's going to change. And that's why going to the local fishing clubs is probably your best bet right away, because they're going to give you honest answers right away. They're not hiding anything. Paid fishing apps, you don't know their intentions of what the purpose of what they're trying to do out of that. I'm an advocate for free. Facebook's free, right? You don't pay for that. Mm-hmm. I would say follow every fishing group in those lakes or those general area and ask questions there.
Yep.
Well, and I'm going to throw this one in here. We got Onyx Fish. I think that's come a long way in a short amount of time. It's been really helpful. It kind of combines what Emily was saying with the Google Maps, but it also adds stuff like you guys were touching on, like it shows you weather, it shows you some wind direction. it also gives you a little bit of tips. So like if there is a snow swell coming, you can check that app and it'll show you on there, and it can, maneuver you around the lake safely a little bit. And so I think that's one worth just looking at.
There's one other app that I didn't think about. It's called Windy. It was when we were in Lake Erie. Somebody told me about that because the wind changed so much out there. That's a pretty good one for wind direction, especially if the conditions get worse as the day goes on.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I have the paid version of Windy on my phone. There is a free version. I just like some of the extras that you get with it, and I use it all the time. And honestly, I think we heard about that from a Bass Pro fisherman. Like they use that, so that's one that's a really good one too. That's good to bring up.
Here's a really bizarre one. Since I've been dabbling with a lot of AI, I think it was last year I said, we're fishing in I said it out loud. We're fishing in Battle on Bago. How do I win this tournament? It actually gave unbelievable good tips and tricks because it's pulling everything from the internet.
Right.
So you're getting all the interactions from all these fishermen, and it actually gave really good advice that we would normally do. So
yeah.
We would have won that if we would have caught those fish.
That's awesome.
It's not a guarantee you're going to win, though, right? Okay.
Oh my
God.
God.
The biggest thing in Lake Winnebago, if they come out fishing, is look for the groups. Those groups are probably on fish. Drive respectably, not fast. Everybody, we did a video last year. This guy, he's just hauling ass across the lake. They do cause pressure waves. I've seen it when we were on the north end doing the Sauger reefs. We were cutting trenches in the ice, and each trench was 18 inches wide, 25 feet long. Then we go another 25 feet, then start another one. So we had some strength there. Well, as these dump trucks were coming out there, they're doing 30, 35 because they want to get this rock hauled out there and dumped. The wave actually came out of the holes like this. So don't tell me there's no pressure waves out there. It's true. It does happen.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
And the biggest thing is these guys are going so fast. Oh, they ain't going to worry about nothing. I said, okay, try stopping. You're going to have 2 miles of stop and glare ice, you idiot.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it doesn't take a very big vehicle to start waves like that too, especially if you're moving at speed.
Yeah, and last year we had 14 to 16 inches of ice.
Yeah.
It's, some people that's a lot, which it's not.
It's not.
As when I was a firefighter, I had to put on a Mustang suit and actually rescue dummies and people and all that kind of. I found I could stand on 2 to 3 inches of ice. I'm a big guy. And so I kind of know my boundaries where I can go on and that kind of stuff. When I was with my UTV up in Lake of the Woods in 2020, I was on 4 to 5 inches with a UTV. That's really sketchy. The only reason I went in, it was frozen snow. Snow is not a very good ice maker. You want clear ice if you can. So just kind of learn from me, the dummy that did do all the stuff. I want to pass it along here, okay?
Yeah, and I'm lucky to be a water professional, and I'll tell you what, there's times, like you said, when the ice is clear and you can stand on that 2 inches, inch and a half. There's also been times when, late season, we were talking about how most of the trouble starts early season or late season, and there's been late season where I've put my foot through 12 inches of ice. It was just a big honeycomb, and it was just basically slush. There was no ice left in there. And so you just have to be aware of your situations, I think. And like you said, slow down a little bit. You don't need to be ripping all over the place, because they're not going to go in. Well, unless you're a white bass fisherman, they like to rip around, but the fish aren't going anywhere. They'll be there when you get there.
Mm-hmm. Any more questions out there?
Nick just chimed in. How deep are you talking? I honestly, Nick, I don't know what that's in relation to. We've talked about all kinds of things here, ice depth and water depth and all kinds of things. So
he's from Ohio. We don't have to respond to him. We know him well. He's an Ohio State fan. We don't speak to that.
He's just one of those big guys.
I actually do have some questions for you guys, since you guys do a great job with the Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. This is year number 2 or 3?
3.
3. So could you tell, for people that have never heard of this or even come down or maybe are considering the Oshkosh, what is the big hype this year? Because I know a couple things, but tell the people that have never been there, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me the big change this year is adding the second building. You know, we have we every year there's been a major change. So the first year we stopped up Highway 41. We got a little bit in trouble by the law enforcement because everybody wanted to be there so bad that we created a traffic jam. The guys at the expo, running the expo, did a great job handling that. Then they moved it over to EAA. They did a great job at putting people in like a building and getting all the parking and stuff situation. We had like a trolley system. Like there was 4 buses constantly running, picking people up, dropping people off. We had food trucks. That was great. They expanded already. So every year it seems to be getting just a little bit bigger, and it's getting just that much better. And so I think the excitement's about that extra building. I think we were talking earlier, I think the food trucks are inside this year.
Yep.
So that's really
they're
cool.
They're going to be by the fish pond.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so there's a few cool things this year that I think are worth coming and checking out. Yeah, I mean, more vendors than last year.
Yeah, say, always new vendors, always new seminars, always up-to-date products, and those cool things that people are seeing on, you know, Facebook and social media, and a lot of the faces that they see there too. So you know, I guess my favorite part of the expo, this is the worst answer ever, but is the thing that I never expect, right? Because every single expo I go to, there's always like somebody I didn't realize I'd bump into, or product I didn't realize I'd find out about, and it's always that unexpected thing that's always my favorite.
I actually learned, I think it was at the Oshkosh show, the ice anchor adapter for the UTV.
Yep.
So basically, if you get stuck and you have a UTV with a winch, you drill a hole and you put this,
just a tool that goes into the water.
And basically it helps yank you out if you need help. So that was one of the neatest ones for us. So
yeah, that's our friends over at Arctic Anchor. They're from South
Arctic
Dakota.
Anchor. Thank you.
Yep, they have a great demo. I think they're honestly, well, I think a lot of the vendors that we have there honestly put on a really good demo display. You know, sometimes you go to some of these shows and it's just a booth and somebody's sitting behind it and they might have like a bowl of candy and in some backdrop, but I think the vendors here really do a good job at bringing out displays, showing people how stuff works. And the Arctic Anchor is one of those that's he has a very good, simple visual display on how it works. I know it's one of the controversial tools because people are always like, well, I can make that. And they're like, well, why didn't you?
Yeah.
but I honestly think they have done they've done a lot of testing with the materials that they use. The design is made so you can put it in easy, get it out easy after you're done using it. So, you know, it's definitely we picked one up last year also.
It's very well engineered.
Right. And so I think that's a good one to bring up. Last year, I think one of the biggest hypes, we had him on the show a few episodes ago, was the Ice Hawk tip up. So they're gonna be here again. Man, there's a whole bunch of them.
That's the problem, is it's so hard to start naming them because you can't possibly name them all.
Right.
The website does name them all. And so definitely go and check that out. I guess I have to ask, what are you guys excited about?
Well, I got a new vendor in there for you guys. It's called There's One. It's a new tip down system that he designed. And I helped him out last winter with it. And he's actually bringing it to market this year. So I told him you better bring a lot because there's a lot of people who are going to look and say, I want that. It's very well engineered. It works great. We caught a lot of crappies on it. So you might want to take a look at it. There's one.
It was very tough for me, the guy that posts 50 times a day, to be told you can't post a single thing of today's trip. Because he was still tweaking it, and he'll be at Oshkosh only, right?
Yep, only Oshkosh.
So that's awesome.
What I'm personally excited about is seeing the One Last Cast family. They have the coolest gear every year. They're very stylish. The hoodies that they have are really comfortable. Yep. So that's a booth I always go by. HT, we partner with Extreme Tackle. So Extreme Tackle carries all things HT. And now Minnesota, the state legislative change for the automatic hook setter. So this is going to be a very big year for HT in general, just because now something that was illegal forever, now they can use.
And
so
sold out already, 7,000 pieces.
Oh my
So I don't
gosh.
know if you got another order in or what, but yeah, it's going to be very unique. So Aaron and I go to the St. Paul Ice Show. We're with the Extreme Tackle there. We actually show and demonstrate product for HT, and you can buy it right there. And now at the Oshkosh show, we got a booth with HT. It's just all show and tell. We just talk about our product, show you that kind of stuff. If you want, you go down to Extreme Tackle, and they'll have it there for you. And if you want to talk fishing, we can do that too.
Well, and speaking of fishing devices, you had one last year. Do you want to give us a little update on how that's going?
Yeah, well, we didn't get into production of it, but I'm a tweaker. I'll take a product and I'll tweak it. So what I did is I took our number one selling wind jigger, which holds a rod in it and bobs in the wind and all that kind of stuff. So I added a rattle wheel. I know Minnesota people love rattle wheels. So I have a little pipe that goes into the wind jigger, and it's got a rattle wheel on it. So to make it a little bit better, I drilled a hole in it. Now I can put my Firefly planer board light in it for nighttime fishing. So you can actually see the light spinning, and you can hear it with the bells ringing. And I can also put it in my shack as a dead stick. Now with the tip down, there's one. We helped design one just for ice shanties over in Minnesota for a pole, a tip down pole in their ice shanty. So check them out also. Just there's one.
So his ice fishing design, this is how it happened. We were going to keep it secret for a long time. And he said, screw it, put it out there. So it's still being tweaked in real time.
That's awesome. No, I love that. I love that. You go ahead.
I've always heard, and I've witnessed it lots of times, ice fishermen are the best inventors of fishing gear. It's amazing, especially when you go to St. Paul Ice Show. That is the pinnacle of ice fishing inventors out there. You know, look at the people behind you. You got the what's that one?
Deep freeze.
Deep freeze. You love that scooper. You know, one wrist turn thing. Oh my God, we made a lot of people with that one out there. Holy moly!
We do have a question though from Thomas Warrell. What's the best tackle for walleye from HT?
Well, first thing I got to start out with, are you a rod guy or a tip-up guy? So you have to make your choices from there. I'm a kind of a rod guy because I like to sit in my UTV and jig my rod. So I would go with the Fast Stick from HT. It's a medium action. It actually starts out round and goes to the end tapered flat. It's quite unique and different, and I just love hook sets with that one right there.
I like the big eye. The big eye from HT.
Yeah. And now with the Striker Pro coming out there, we're going to be using Striker Pro quite a bit for the automatic hook setter.
Nice.
And then some people swear just by the Predator Pro tip-up system.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really do a lot of tip-up fishing, but then when we see our friends do tip-up fishing, they seem to do extremely well with it. So HT is pretty well known for their tip-up because they were the first inventors of the ice fishing tip-up.
Polar tip-up, yep.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So,
well, and nothing like a minnow for catching a walleye, and that's something that'll go on a tip up for sure. And it's an easy setup. Anyone can do that. That's perfect.
Yeah, and a lot of times we'll tip our artificial baits like Swedish pimples with just the head of the minnow. Sometimes it might just be the tail. Sometimes you need one maggot. Sometimes you need two. Sometimes three. You know, the fish tell you what they want, and you have to figure that out.
That's the worst part about having an underwater camera is watching fish look at it and stare you down right in the camera saying, I'm not biting today. And you see it all day, and that's frustrating.
You know, to piggyback on that, Aaron, like putting the camera down, not only can you see it staring at your bait, but they'll come over to the camera. And the camera is like a pretty big piece. Yep. And they're not afraid of that at all. But as soon as you put the little jig with a wax worm down there, they just fly away. It's amazing.
Yeah, they know their lips are going to get ripped.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's a good point though.
Yeah.
Sometimes the camera, they don't care. That tiny jig scares me out.
Oh, okay. So here's one for everybody. What's your favorite go-to jigs for perch?
Oh, wow.
Small, as small as you can get them.
Yeah, but sometimes that doesn't work. 3 years ago, I caught my biggest perch up in the Bay of Green Bay on a ripping wrap. And he looks and he's going, holy, in the hole. Like, yeah, it's a 15-inch perch. That's my biggest one ever. I said, I got to throw that back. No, you're going to get that mounted. I says, why? It's a female. We want to throw it back. When you die, I get it. What? Okay.
But I have zero. He's got a lot of fish on his wall. I have zero as part of a shared memory. So that's more important.
There you go.
Yeah.
I honestly I do like using like a flashy spoon, and sometimes like it depends on what the mood is for the perch, because it can be a fairly big spoon too, but a dropper chain on those spoons really seem to work really well, and it combines kind of like that high vis flash with, like Aaron was saying, those smaller jigs, and the fish will approach the smaller jigs. But I think in my mind, at least, if I'm thinking like a perch, like you're pounding the bottom with a big spoon, you pull it up, and then something's floating underneath it. It's kind of like that spoon was another perch, like digging stuff up, and then there's food floating there, and then another perch comes in and grabs it. I don't know. It's not called Perch Junction for a reason. It's called Crappie Junction. So maybe you don't want to listen to me, but.
Well, you know, a lot of times to me in wintertime, it's the barometric pressures.
Yeah.
That's a big key indicator in making fish bite. And I wish I had a secret bait. Like, yeah, I got to go to this one. This one always does it. They're always changing it up on me. So that's why you got so much stuff to carry out there.
Tungsten jigs, the spider jig from HT, color.
Yeah, colors will drive you nuts too. You know, I got 24 colors and a rattling wasp. My God, how many more do you want?
Oh my goodness. We have another really great question. I don't know if you are familiar with jaw jackers, but Thomas is asking, do jaw jackers work? Because every time he tries them, the ice rod will break.
The ice rod will break.
So jaw jacker
it's an auto setter, right?
Yep, it's an auto setter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he must be using too light of a rod. Yeah, I know you definitely have some backbone, and you want to set them as tight as possible. Sometimes it might be the rod itself because of temperatures. I know a real graphite rod does not like cold temperatures at all. They'll break. I guess you'd have to look at, I forgot the name of the rod that we use from HT for our
Sapphire.
Striker Pros. And they're a medium to medium heavy, which you may, that's way too, you want that hook set right away. And that was the whole purpose of these strike hook setters, is to hook the fish quick. You don't want them swallowing it down their gullet like a tip-up would do.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it begs to bring up, you should probably look at rods that are in the fiberglass family, just because they tend to be a little bit more on the tough side. They have like from a rod builder, they have a little bit more of a moderate action, so you get a little bit more bend through the whole rod as opposed to just the tip. And with those like auto setting setups, you kind of want that power to be loaded all the way across the rod, and that's why you need to have those medium heavy to heavy rod blanks, because you have a softer action than you would in something with like a really tip sensitive rod. Yeah.
Well, Kerry Paulson with the Automatic Fisherman, he is a very knowledgeable guy on rods. He has his own rods made up, so I think he'll be there too.
The
yeah, so go check him out. He's very good at it. I took him out in a boat perch fishing. We had a ball out there, and he showed me all the rods he had. Like, holy, he has a lot. So please check him out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the other advantage of going to these shows, is you can talk to these vendors and get very specific on like pros and cons to certain aspects of ice fishing, because there's so many different varieties of how to catch a fish.
Well, and a lot of you guys and us as well, we all know each other from a year-round relationship, right? And so you guys can send someone over to Carrie, and Carrie might send someone over to you guys, just because we all kind of know each other. We know what each other's knowledge base is. And so that's, one of those things you get by going to an expo like this.
Right. And sometimes that's the only place you're going to see it at the expo.
Right.
You won't see it at a big box store. It might have some at the local shops, hopefully. I've always tried to support local, and that's who I sell most of my product to. I don't really – the Fireflies are in Fleet Farm, but that was a struggle and to get it, whatever, but we won't get in it. Yeah, I'm trying to support local. Trust me.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's something that's going to be very easy to do at the expo. So whether the expo is local to you or not, there is a bunch of great local to Wisconsin products and all kinds of stuff made by ice fishermen for ice fishermen. So like you said, what a great place to start that conversation, ask questions, and get excited for the season. So I have to say we're getting kind of far into our time here. Is there anything else that you were hoping to talk about tonight that we didn't talk about yet? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I need to let him share, but we have exciting news that happened 2 months ago to my family and now him, and he always forgets and neglects to mention it. So I'm going to make him share it on this live broadcast for everybody to know, because every time he gets off air, my mother goes, You forgot to mention. So I'll let him. I think he understands what I'm asking him to talk about.
So we have a new addition to his family, our family. Summer Ray, our granddaughter now, 2 months old, just a little bundle of joy. So I'm happy they didn't have to name her Rainy Day. So Summer Ray's better.
So yes,
congratulations, guys.
So I have a daughter now and a son. So now when I go to these shows, I'm gonna have to look for pink things and then all the things for him. So like now going to these shows, it's even more important that I go to all the different vendors to see what's kid friendly and what's gonna get them involved for the future.
Oh, well, we'll help you out, Aaron.
I got an extra 3 rods now coming up.
He actually last year, so Extreme Tackle has you reel and it lights up the barrel swivel. I've never seen that before, and of course I was like, I wasn't planning on spending anything, and I'm just like, yeah, I gotta buy it now, Christmas present.
So the kid just sits there all day looking at the lights go on.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you're bringing them to the expo.
When you guys come to the shows, don't be afraid to come up and talk to us. We're just regular Joe Schmoes, whatever, I just get to experience fishing a lot more than other people, I did my 30 years. I'm now retired. It's been 8 years now. I'd love to go fishing with my son finally every day when he can go with me. I take a lot of friends out just to get out there. Like I said, the bonus thing is catching a fish for me.
Yeah, that is true. Oh my gosh. And so for the people who can make it down to the expo, hopefully they will come and say hello. For the people who maybe want to learn a little bit more, you're doing seminars. And so that is going to be a great time. Hopefully everyone comes and checks that out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we are looking to spend some time with you. I'm looking forward to spend some time with you that weekend. And so thanks so much for being here tonight to give us a little preview.
Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you in 2 weeks in St. Paul, and can't wait to see you here in Oshkosh then too.
Absolutely.
I do want to shout you guys out. You guys do a tremendous job with the social media presence that you guys create at the show. I think the vendors can't probably thank you enough for how much advertising you do for them, like going around day and day. I mean,
promoting their products.
Like that's really cool that you guys are at every single booth interacting with every single buddy that might not be there. So kudos to you guys with promoting the Oshkosh, Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo. I don't think it would be to the level it is without you guys promoting it, because people see everything digitally now. And if they don't know something's going on, they're not going to go. So you guys do such a great job marketing them, and they owe you the world for getting all those people there.
Well, we appreciate it, guys, but we wouldn't have an expo without people and vendors like you guys. You guys are the show. We just are so happy to bring bring the light to you guys for the few times that people get to see you throughout the year. And we're looking forward to it. We're always excited for it.
Hoping for good ice and safe ice, and let's go fishing.
Heck yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So thank you so much for being here. And to the people at home, thank you guys for being here as well, because that is always a big part of the fun. And hopefully we get to see each of you at the expo. And either way, we'll see you on the next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.
See you guys.